Hello and welcome to World History. This is my welcome video to officially welcome you to class. Here you can see me, my little picture right there. But I did want to walk you through the newsletter. It's a little bit long and it's filled with a lot of information, so I just wanted to make sure that we went through all of it. That way you could understand. And if you have any questions, you can let me know. So just to share a brief bit of information about me, I've been married to my best friend Mike for 8 years. We've actually known each other for 15 years because we met while working at a childcare. So education's always been really important to our family. We have two boys. Our son Akira is 7 and our other son Kenji is 6. And we love to travel to the beach and Disneyland and play Wii together. Mike and I also were a part of a dragon boat team before we left Portland. We just recently moved back to California, so we are on the search for a new team to join. As far as history goes, I have been interested in history since elementary school. I think my first memory is 6th grade when we were learning about the ancient civilizations, which is really what I love learning about. You know, learning about things like Egypt and China and Rome and ancient Japan are some of my personal favorites. My education was actually in humanities, which is kind of a blend of history and literature and religion and economics, archaeology, philosophy, so much more. But it brings all of those things together to get a really balanced look at the place that you're studying about. Because if you don't take into consideration what they wrote about or the artwork they did, then you don't really get a full view of who that civilization was. So humanities was a lot of fun for me to study. And I try and bring all of those different viewpoints into my Class Connects. So if you come, which I hope you do, you'll notice that I often bring in literature that was written, artwork. We'll go on virtual field trips to different museums and places and things like that because I find that stuff very important to understanding the civilization. One quote that I really love: educating yourself does not mean that you were stupid in the first place. It means that you are intelligent enough to know that there is plenty left to learn. And I definitely live by that because, especially with ancient history, there is so much information out there. I often joke with the American history teachers that, they only have, 300 years of history, to really focus on, 250 to 300, and then, the Native Americans that lived in North America prior to that. But ancient history is just thousands and thousands of years of history. And so it's impossible for me to know everything and to remember the dates for everything. But I do find myself learning even more from you guys every year that I teach the class. So while you're learning this information for the first time, I'm relearning some of this information multiple times, and it really helps me to understand history a lot better too. You'll be able to go ahead and click here to watch a session from the orientation. It's my breakout session, welcoming you to class and really getting into detail with what we're going to be learning that year, what my expectations are, and ways that you can contact me, because I really want you to know that I am approachable, and if you ever need any help, please let me know. I won't know how to help you if I don't know what's wrong. So keep that communication open and let me know if there's anything ever I can do to help. Over here in the margin, I give you some hints and tips. So make sure to plan to attend the history orientation and check your OLS for an invite. The dates change year to year, so I don't want to put any dates in, but definitely check it out. It's going to have a lot of great information, and it gives you a chance to meet some of the other students that are taking classes in your term. Also check under your K-Mail tab in the OLS for your teacher contact information and study halls. Knowing where to find that information and how to get in will be very helpful for you for the year. Make sure to check your daily and weekly schedules, those 180-day documents, to know where you're supposed to be, as well as your OLS schedules to know when Class Connect sessions are coming up. Because while those 180-day docs are good to let you know what lessons you need to be working on, it doesn't tell you when the classes are. So you're going to need to look into your OLS plan to find that information on the Class Connects. I'd love for you to attend a study hall this week to introduce yourself. We don't have to talk about class if you just want to come and tell me why you're with K-12, where you're living, what you love about where you're living, anything, come in and just introduce yourself and we can talk for a while, get to know each other. If you have Skype or you're going to be adding Skype soon, please make sure to add me. My information is iAcademy H. Fontaine. So please make sure to do that as soon as you can. And don't forget to mark your attendance at the end of the week. Your LC should be doing that for you. So just make sure that they remember to do that at the end of each week. All right, so now on to some content specific information. The unit assessments. The unit assessments are very important for classes because these are going to test you on the information you've learned for the entire unit. You'll be doing lessons each day, and at the end of that day, more than not, you're going to have a lesson assessment. It's just going to be like a quiz where it quizzes you about what you learned that day. The unit assessments will actually quiz you and test you on what you learned through the entire unit. And there's two parts to it. There's an online part and there's an offline part. Now the online part you complete in the OLS and you'll get your grade immediately. The offline part you're going to take on documents that I send to you in Kmail. So make sure that you save those to your computer. If you happen to lose them or didn't save them or having problems opening it, you should be able to continue to find that information in your Kmail. Just go back a couple pages if you've gotten more Kmails, or you can ask me to resend it. I'm more than happy to do that. But sending those offline assessments to me gives me a better idea of how you're doing in class and if there's anything that we should review. That's really important to me because even in the unit assessments where it grades you for the entire unit, you're going to be taking something called a semester assessment later, where it's going to grade you on the units that came, during that one semester. So if there's anything that you need to review or maybe get a better understanding for, we can go through that then before you go to take that semester assessment and possibly miss questions. So what are we going to be learning about in World History A? We're going to be learning about the first 4 civilizations that settled around rivers. Those are some of the first civilizations we're going to be talking about. But even before that, we're going to be learning about how people lived before they lived in civilizations. Hunter-gatherers, people who followed the herds for food. You're also in Unit 1, which is not a favorite of students, but you're going to learn how to use some of the tools that we use in world history. Absolute and relative location, using maps to find things. All of those are going to be used as we study these civilizations that you learn about later. So it's really important that you focus on these first 2 units. I know a lot of students really wish that they could just fast forward to the first civilization of Mesopotamia, but these first 2 units are really going to set a good foundation for you before we move into those civilizations, because we do a lot of comparing and contrasting between life in a civilization and life as a hunter-gatherer. You'll also learn about some Asian societies and philosophy. We'll be learning about different religions. So we'll look at Asian religions as well as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. We'll learn about ancient Greece and Rome, the Byzantine Empire, and medieval Africa, the Vikings, medieval Europe, and the start of kings. We'll look at some later Chinese dynasties, the Mongols, and the plague. And we'll talk a good while about the Silk Road because it was very important to how information and culture was able to spread around the world. So make sure that you have with you your class resources. The most important things to have are the Human Odyssey, your textbook, and the student guide, which tells you which textbook pages you're gonna read. It has workbook pages in there that you can fill out that you can actually use as notes when you go to take the assessments. The assessments, and you'll hear me say this multiple times during the year, the assessments are open book and open note. The questions are a little bit harder because of that. So please take notes. Please, as you read in your textbook, highlight new information. Or, if you read something about a certain leader, highlight information about that leader. Where was he born? What did he learn? How did he govern? Those are important things to highlight. And if you need help with that, taking notes, let me know. I'd love to help you. I like to use lots of different ways of taking notes, so we'll be able to experiment to find the one that works best for you. Class Connect sessions, you'll see about 2 to 4 Class Connect sessions on your schedule. I usually kind of lean towards the smaller number of 2, just because I find that students get confused if they have too many classes on their schedule that don't relate to them. So if you're on Unit 4, you're not going to be finding class invites for Unit 12. It's confusing. I've had kids come to those sessions and then they kind of get mixed up on time, the way things happened in time. And so you'll usually find about 1 or 2 sessions on your schedule. If I'm planning for, sessions that aren't really specific to the units, then you'll see more invites on there. And also sometimes we do all history sessions where all of the history teachers get together and we help you. So how to succeed in world history? One of the first things that you really should do is focus on using that student pages book. Not only will it give you a summary of the information that you're going to be learning, again, it'll have your textbook pages and you'll have workbook pages that you can fill out and use as your notes when you take those assessments. Make sure to read also. You wouldn't believe how many students try to take this class without reading. There's not a lot of information in the online lessons. That's where American history and world history are a little different. There's a lot more offered online in the American history class, whereas in world history you're going to get the majority of your information from the textbook. So it's really important that you read that textbook because you're not going to get enough just from the online lessons. Again, please complete those workbook pages and offline activities. You can use them as notes. You can use them as notes. Notes on your unit assessments and your lesson assessments. So please, please, please remember that. If you have any questions or if you're having problems with workbook pages, let me know. I haven't gone through all of them yet. So, if you have a question in one that's kind of, it's hard to understand, let me know. Maybe I didn't know about it. And so we can get to the bottom of that and I can help you. Also, make sure to take your lesson assessments. You're going to want to make sure that you're taking them in order. If you don't pass it the first time, you can retake it. I will give you up to 4 tries to pass a lesson assessment. But you should be using your notes, so hopefully it won't take that much. And if there's anything that is confusing, if you took the assessment and you got a question that you don't remember learning about, please bring that to my attention because I need to know that. Also, make sure you're completing your unit assessments in the order when you're supposed to. So if you finish a unit and you are taking a unit assessment, before you move on to that next unit, do the assessment while that information is still fresh in your mind. And you can refer back to notes. You'll remember where to find it because you were just working on it. If you move on to the next unit and continue on pretty far into it, I'm going to put a 0 in the unit assessment until you complete it. And that means that you will have to contact me in order to get it opened up for you to take. So it's best to just take it when it shows up in your calendar to make it nice and easy. So that's some basic information on World History A. Just take a deep breath. I am totally here for you. My phone number is 571-405-2436. I also have a Google phone that you can call and you can also text message to. The number is 916-741 to World History A, to WHA. It took me a while to find a number for that, but the digits are 2942. You can also K-mail me as well as Skype me. So if you have Skype or plan on getting Skype, please add me as soon as you can. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you for watching this recording and welcome to World History. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.